Whether you are looking to rent an apartment in Krakow or you are already living in Krakow and are wanting to find a new apartment, this video is for you. I am going to be talking all about how to find an apartment here in Krakow, Poland. We'll be talking price tags, we'll be talking where to find apartments, what to expect when you rent an apartment, and all of that good stuff. But before we dive headfirst into this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It is completely free and I would love to have you. So many of you guys who watch my channel are not subscribed. I see you. So be sure to subscribe. You don't want to miss out any of the content that I put out here on my channel. I talk about pretty much my life in Poland and all things related to Poland, the Polish language, funny things, all that kind of stuff. So I'd love to have you stick around and let's go ahead and dive into what you need to know about renting an apartment in Krakow, Poland. So the first thing we're going to talk about is where do you even find an apartment? Where do you go to look for apartments? Some of the best places I have found to look for apartments are OLX. It's kind of like a Craigslist of sorts for here in Krakow. It's super great. You can just find a bunch of listings that owners are putting on OLX and you can just find them that way. You can also look on Gumtree. Gumtree is pretty similar to OLX from what I've seen, and again, it's just very local listings that are being put on there. I know quite a few people who have rented from Gumtree and they have really enjoyed it and had a good experience with Gumtree. Another thing you can do is go on Facebook groups. They have a whole bunch of different groups for, if you just moved to Krakow or if you are in different Polish groups, if you are Poland, and you can find some that way. And then the last way to do it is how I have personally done it is going through a rental agency, and that place is called Hamilton May. I will link all of these places down in the description box below, so if you guys are ever interested in taking a look at these, I would recommend. The reason I went through Hamilton May is because obviously I'm American and I speak English, and a lot of the places on OLX or Gumtree usually have Polish owners who may not speak the best English, and I figured if I'm renting, I want someone who speaks English. So you go through an agency like Hamilton May, you go and you select apartments, you go on a tour of different places, and they handle it all for you. They do the contracts, they talk to the owners, they come up with everything. They're basically the middleman in between the renter and the landlord, and they kind of just handle it all. And I just give them money every month and I'm able to live in my apartment. So I just love that convenience. It is the most expensive option, so keep that in mind. Everything else on OLX or Gumtree or even Facebook groups can be a lot cheaper because you're going through the owner itself. But again, I was just looking for the convenience. So if you are a Polish person, maybe that's the best option for you. But if you are moving here and you don't speak any English, maybe consider doing a rental agency. Another thing is what type of apartments are for rent. And you can get short-term leases or long-term leases. So if you're short-term, usually that's like a month, 2 month, 3 month kind of situation, and you can just do a month-to-month type of lease. This is great for people who are here on like a short-term stay for like business or something like that and just don't want to stay in a hotel. You can do an Airbnb. You can just get, again, very short-term rentals. But the most popular from what I've seen are just the long-term rentals, anything over 6 months or so. Usually you would sign a lease up to a year, and then you would just talk with the landlord after that year is up if you wanted to renew your lease. Otherwise you would just find something different. But we've always renewed a lease in the places that we've stayed here just because I hate moving and I don't like to deal with the hassle of all of that. And so that's usually what we've done. But I know people who've moved every year just because they want a different change of scenery. But yeah, this is kind of what I've seen are short-term rentals and long-term rentals. Lastly, when is the best time to move to Krakow? Honestly, any time of the year is great. Prices are obviously going to be a little bit lower in like the fall, winter time frame, and they're going to be a bit higher in the summer. So again, kind of keep that in mind. But right now, I was just looking not that long ago, and there's always a good amount on the market, and so I think you'll be able to find something that completely suits your needs and your style regardless of when you next stay. Is what is the housing market like here in Krakow? When I'm filming this, it is 2022, so I would say the market has become really competitive, especially within the last year. If you like an apartment, you need to hop on it super fast because chances are it's gonna go quick. And with so many people moving into Krakow and staying here, the city has just grown so fast that the housing market can't keep up with the population growth. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for a place, don't look like 3-4 months out before you actually want to move because chances are the place you like will be gone. Another thing is that you don't usually have to put in an application to rent an apartment. If you like something, chances are you just contact the landlord or the rental agency and you tour the place. If you like it, you give them a deposit and you move it. It's super easy. I know some places, like, you do have to do a application in, like, say the States or something, but I have not heard of that here. Maybe that's just dependent on the landlord, but the places I've lived in and the people I've talked to have not had to do an application. So what is the cost of a rental apartment here in Krakow? From what I've seen, it's about 2,000 zloty a month, up to like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,000 zloty a month. That honestly just depends on the location of the city that you're in. If you're super close to the central area of town, it's gonna be more expensive. If you're farther out, maybe on a tram line, maybe like 20, 30 minutes away from the city, prices are gonna go down. Different pockets of the city have different price tags usually. So I honestly would just check your budget, see what you can handle, start looking around to kind of see what areas you like, and then also look at the different pockets within Krakow and see how convenient it is for you. In my opinion, and this is again different for everyone, but convenience is more important for me. And so I don't want to live 45 minutes away from the city because I love going into the old town of Krakow. I love exploring and seeing new things. And so living 45 minutes away from downtown Krakow, while yes, we have public transport, it's not as convenient for me. So I pay a little bit more money for my apartment here than I probably should just because I'm here closer to the city center. I do know people who live 40 minutes out and it is significantly cheaper, yes, but their commute to work, because they drive to work every day, it's over an hour each way. Is it really worth it to you to save money on rent and spend an hour in the car? I think you just have to make that decision for yourself and really figure out what is best for you. But keep in mind that the closer you are to the city center, the more expensive things are going to be. Another thing to keep in mind is that prices, just like the rental market, have just gone crazy within the last year. When we moved into this apartment a few years ago, I remember it being like one of the more expensive places around, and now it's one of the cheaper places because of just how much everything else has gone up. So I honestly don't see prices going down within the next year or so. I think they're just only gonna keep going up. So again, keep that in mind as well when you are looking for a place here, because it's just expensive. Everything has just really gone up here in Krakow, both the housing market and the prices. Now that we've talked about the price, what can you actually get for the money that you're spending? This is a super important question to ask, because if you're paying, any kind of amount for rent, you want to know exactly, again, what your money is getting you. So in my experience and what I've seen, a lot of the places here in Krakow are fully furnished, if not partially furnished, which means that you can pretty much move in with your suitcase and call it a day. There are some apartments that are not furnished at all. So if you already have furniture, you can just take it and move it in and it's gonna be good to go. But for example, in this apartment, it came fully furnished, down to the sheets on the bed, the silverware in the cupboard, the wine glasses, everything came included. So all we had to do was move our suitcases in and just start living our life. Of course, you can, move things around or ask the landlord to change some things. In our experience, the landlords have been very amicable about moving furniture or taking things out and making it a bit more comfortable for you. Like in this apartment, we have an office space, but there was a bed in that office space. So we just asked them to move it because it was their furniture. So they moved it for us, and then we just converted it into an office with some desks, and it works perfectly, and they had no issues doing that. So if there is something about the apartment that you don't love in terms of furniture, always feel free to ask your landlord, and they should be very willing to help you out with that. But again, I think you should just take a look around. Is it being furnished important to you? Is it not important to you? Do you want it not furnished? Just decide those things for yourself. But I do love the fact that all the apartments that I've seen here are mostly furnished, and that just makes it so easy, because I haven't purchased a house yet, and I don't want to buy furniture until I do that. And it's just so nice to know I don't have to move furniture from place to place like I had to do in America. Another thing to note is that a lot of the apartments here are pet friendly, but it's always best to ask the landlord before you rent, because you don't want to just bring a pet into the apartment without asking the landlord. Usually if you have a pet, you'll just pay a deposit and that's fine. But if you just don't clear it and you bring a pet in and the landlord's not happy, it could definitely not be great for you. Like for example, I have a pug and I also have a cat, and the landlord was very happy to have all of that. And also Krakow is very dog friendly, and so that's a really big bonus when it comes to living here, is if you have a little animal, a little furry friend that you want to bring in, it's most likely going to be okay. And the last point I want to bring up is, what should you expect when you rent an apartment here in Krakow? Generally speaking, I would say you could expect to have an apartment with modern amenities. It doesn't necessarily mean that your apartment will be completely brand new, but it means that a lot of the apartments have been updated in some way. So for example, I had a really good friend here who was living in a kamienica, and the building, so a kamienica, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like an older building with like a really pretty outside, and then the inside has a whole bunch of like little apartments, if that makes sense. And so the apartment they were living in had been updated with the style in in mind. And so the style inside was a little older, but the kitchen was new, the bathroom was new, but the floors were original, and the decor was original, and the window treatments were original. So they updated the amenities but kept the integrity, I guess, of the original style. And so that's kind of what I'm meaning, is you don't have to get a brand new apartment. Of course you can. There are so many of them here in Krakow, they're building like crazy, but most of the time people here have just been updating the older style homes to have it be more modern and more comfortable. So I really do appreciate that, because in other countries I've been to, I've noticed that has not necessarily been the case. So we're very lucky to have that over here in Krakow. Another thing is, I found the quality of the majority of places for rent are really high. I'm coming from America, and I always felt that the apartments in America, unless you were paying top dollar, were not the best quality, and they just weren't taken care of very well. And so unless you're willing to pay thousands of dollars a month for rent, it may not be the best kind of apartment. Where here, I feel the quality is really high for the majority of places that you're looking, and I really appreciate that, because I feel it's just gonna make it a lot easier and more enjoyable to live in your house and feel comfortable, and to really just enjoy having a nice place to live. So that just about wraps up my guide to renting here in Krakow, Poland. If you guys have rented an apartment here, or you're looking to move into a different apartment, let me know in the comments below how your experience went, and what you like about apartments here in Krakow. I'd love to know and just kind of hear your guys' thoughts. So thank you again so much for watching. Again, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with someone who is looking for an apartment here in Krakow. So thank you guys again. I will see you in my next video.